afternoon, Summoners, and welcome to the Legion of Champions, brought to you by Lenovo and Intel. We will be your shoutcasters. My name is Vulcan, and with me is Gisto. Moving on to the finals to determine who will be moving on to Bangkok to represent the Philippines in the grand finals.
Yeah, only two teams remain now, and for both of these, they've worked very hard to reach this point, battling out very tough competition through the online qualifiers, and now only one best of three remains in order for them to possibly represent the country.
In January, moving on to Bangkok. So, very interesting to see which team will be making it up the ranks and will be declared the champion in our respective country. But let us get to know the teams. Espionage. We are very familiar with Espionage. They have tried to make their name known, make it to the PGS in the promotions and relegations, but sadly did not make the cut.
Yeah, of course, the jump to pro is a very tough task for any team, really, and right now they have the opportunity to possibly compete internationally, and that's really a huge point of experience for all of these players, a huge opportunity, I should say, for all of them.
But now let's get to know with Red Light. It's not a familiar name that we are used to because we know that Red Light also, in a way, when I saw the brackets, they were able to defeat some of the PGS teams. So, in short, I don't think this is going to be an underdog scenario where Red Light will be facing against one of the tryouts of the PR.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what to expect from both of these teams, but I do expect the matches to be very, very explosive.
And so far, this is going to be game one. Espionage versus Red Light. Know that this is the best of three. And again, this is Legion of Champions, brought to you by Lenovo and Intel. So far, we have to get ready for our players out there. This is going to be an exciting best of three series. And so far, I mean, Espionage, Red Light, it's kind of a, let's say, hard to really decide where a best of three series is kind of stressful.
Yeah, of course, in a best of three, you want to start out your first match with a win to build momentum, because you do need to win 2 games in order to advance, and it will rely a lot on your adaptability, how you react to what your opponent throws at you, and there's really so much things you could do as far as strategizing in a best of 3 series.
And I don't think these teams are strangers to the best of 3 series, and not to mention how you would have to adapt and strategize in your planning in the best of 3 series. I mean, we've seen players out in the PR. Espionage is no stranger towards the pro scene, but for Red Light, we did see their record, their history. They were able to defeat some of the PGS teams, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I do believe during the online qualifiers for this, they were able to take down 2 of the teams that eventually qualified for the Pro Gaming Series, so definitely tough opponents for Espionage here. But Espionage, we know, they have these cheese picks, they have these very interesting pocket picks that could possibly come out in the series and could throw off Red Light.
So I think this is very exciting to see, because when it comes to international tournaments in the Philippines, rather, going on to the international stage, I think it's very exciting and a huge boost in confidence if you make it towards the stage, which is going to be in Bangkok this next year, January, actually.
Yeah, of course, any team would be very happy to compete internationally. Like, for all these players, just going to a different country, seeing the site, taking in the food, all that stuff, just the experience. And for the semi-pros as well, this is a really big opportunity for both teams.
So we'll be moving on to the drafting phase pretty shortly, because this is going to be a best of 3 series again. And not to mention, Espionage will be playing one of the PR teams, like I always say, because of the reason that I keep saying that Espionage is used to play in PR is because the grind towards promotions and relegations is very tough, and for them to make it to the finals for the Legion of Champions is not a surprise, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely no surprise that Espionage did make it to the final here. They do have some pro players, former pro players, I should say, on the roster, so definitely stacked as far as experience goes.
So, I mean, Chisto, what are your predictions in this game? Because we're talking about pure PR experience compared to Red Light, who I don't think even qualified for PR.
Yeah, I think Red Light, they have some LCL talent on the roster coming from the University of Iloilo. And having that LCL experience, having that competitive experience could be the edge over Espionage today. But really, I don't know what to expect coming from both teams.
I mean, the LCL is always a good stage to determine fresh talents. And I would say the League of Legends Collegiate League is something that where I think even pro teams try to scout out new members for their pro teams.
Yeah, definitely, because the collegiate scene here, as far as competitive League of Legends go, it has been rising as far as the competitiveness of all the players. Everyone has been constantly getting better throughout the years, and yeah, I agree with you. It has been a sort of scouting grounds for these pro teams.
So far, I mean, when you're talking about pro teams, what comes into your mind?
Pro gaming series.
No, I mean, what's the characteristics of a pro?
They work hard.
Not just work hard, I mean, they also have sacrifices, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So far for LCL, I mean, do you think that it's going to be more of a, I would say, the grown-ups or more experienced, more grown-up players facing against some of the younger generations?
I'd say it's about even.
It's about even in a way what?
In a way where they aren't alien to this competitive scene, where they've both experienced very tough competition as far as League of Legends goes.
For PR to be a very grind-heavy is something that I would really, in a way, praise the players in a sense that they made it this far. But right now, this is the Lenovo Legion of Champions, brought to you by Lenovo and Intel. We are going to be a casters again for Game 1. And when it comes to best of 3, Chisto, it's about revealing your cards. Is that correct? I mean, too early? Is that going to be too dangerous?
During the Game 1, you want to feel out your opponent first, try and see what they're going to throw at you, and try to adapt during the next game. Once you know what strategies they can, you don't want to pull your ace card like right out of the bat in order to get that first win. You really want to try and detect what your opponent will be throwing at you.
So Game 1 is more of testing grounds in the sense that, yeah, like when it comes to best of 3 series, whoever gets the 2 points first will be winning the finals and moving on to Bangkok in this January. So, I mean, I think we're going to be seeing some of, let's say, clutch games, because when it comes to Game 1, it's kind of a rough start. I mean, a warm-up game, if I like to call it myself. But when it comes to warm-up games, sometimes when you overwork your warm-up, you may sprain a muscle and then may not play properly.
Yeah, let's hope that these teams came prepared to really face probably the toughest competition they can face right now. So, yeah, very excited to see the match.
And now let's get ready to see the drafting phase pretty much shortly, because this is again best of 3 series. Espionage playing against Red Light. But Chisto, Red Light, it's not a familiar name if you would say. I mean, you used to play in the, or rather, used to be a coach.
Yeah, I used to
you used to be a coach in the pro scene. Have you heard of a team called Red Light?
I have not actually. Well, considering I did coach from NCR, given that they aren't from the same region as me, I'm not that familiar with them, but I definitely think they are a good team, considering they are in the finals versus Espionage, and now we'll be heading straight into the drafting phase. Let's see what these teams have in store for us.
So far, Espionage will be playing on the blue side. They have the first priority, whereas Red Light will be playing on the red side. I think this is a team from Iloilo, if I'm not mistaken. So, the representative from Iloilo, the pride of Iloilo. We have a lot of pro players coming from there, I would say, especially AX.
Yeah, I
one
agree,
of the big names in Iloilo.
Yeah, Iloilo definitely stacked as far as League of Legends talents go, but looking at the bans right here, it looks like Red Light, they don't want to deal with Kyler's cheese picks, and they ban out their top laners. Man, so much target banning, trying to pinch the pool of Kyler.
We did see how Kyler can use that Ornn Shen, one of the most picked top laners in this preseason as of now. So, it's very common knowledge to actually remove it, and now Red Light will be taking away the Gnar and the Jhin. We'll be seeing a jungle Shyvana, very farm-heavy based champion.
Yeah, I think with the new runes reforges, Shyvana can be a very strong jungler. She can proc the press the attack very quickly because her Q gives her 2 auto attacks, and they'll just instantly stack with press the attack and give you so much burst damage if you are able to get farmed up. Shyvana needs a lot of gold in order to be effective as the game goes on. But the response from Red Light, picking up the blind pick Gnar here, very interesting, because we normally see Gnar as a counter pick to specific melee matchups in the top lane, and now with a blind pick top laner, Espionage, they have the option to counter pick the Gnar with something that can favor them.
So when you're talking about a blind pick Gnar, what can possibly be picked into this Gnar? Because most likely, I can only picture so much, let's say, we sometimes see a Gnar and a Maokai matchup. That's just going to be disastrous. And for Espionage, they banned out the Jace. So what's going to be their top laner? That's going to be a very interesting pick that we will have to wait.
Yeah, definitely. But right now, Espionage, they are hovering over the Ashe. A very common matchup we see into the Jin will be able to match the engage range because Ashe does have that global ultimate which can shut down the curtain call if you land it.
And so far for counter picks, so I think Espionage is drafting this pretty, I would say smart, pretty clever. But for them to be at a spot where they're on the blue side, seems to me like Red Light has the advantage here.
Yeah, being on the red side, Red Light do have that option for a last pick, possibly counter pick for the mid lane. We've seen a majority of teams do that as far as competitive League of Legends goes. Whoa, is this a Z lock-in? Wow. Looks like there will be a Z for Endless Ace.
So far, that will be the mid lane Z for Endless Ace. And I think this is going to be Endless Ace used to play for AEX, so Red Light, I think they're familiar with Endless Ace here. But right now, let's move on to the second phase of the ban. Already removing the support. And so far, I think this is going to be a very interesting game because I think this is I just heard that it's supposed to be a Zoe pick. So we're going to be seeing Zoe in one of the competitive scene this early.
Yeah, finally we get to see Zoe in.
Normally, they don't really use it this early. They have to do a lot of testing to make it work.
Yeah, but since it is a Zoe, let's talk about what she can do. She's very impressive as a champion, deals a lot of insane bursts. That damage can really catch up to it. Once the sleep lands onto you, she's drowsy for the next 1.5 seconds. She lands her max range Q, you're just dead.
So far, it's going to be a huge lockdown. So, interesting. Red Light showing the Nautilus. This will be a Nautilus support.
Yeah, with those lock-ins from Red Light, they are going to opt to leave the counter pick for their mid laner. They're going to give Margaret a better matchup into Endless Ace's Z. But right now, Renekton can be one of those picks that can deal with the Gnar. But if he falls behind versus this matchup, it's going to have... Kyler's going to have a really hard time in the top lane.
I think this is a huge gamble for Kyler, especially Espionage. What's at stake here is the chance to go on to Bangkok to represent the Philippines and the grand finals of the Lenovo Legion of Champions. So for him to pick the Renekton and onto Gnar is somewhat of a gamble.
Yeah, but it is only the first game, Vulcan. If they do mess up or fumble during this first game, they can have 2 more games to possibly come back once they've read the strategy that Red Light will be tossing towards them. But looking at the final drafts here for both teams, it's going to be very hard for Renekton to go for something top lane because their jungler is very farm heavy. Shyvana, she doesn't provide that much CC lockdown for these early ganks. And Gnar is a very slippery champion. He can just kite you for days. Let's see, how does Espionage deal with this mismatch in the top lane?
And let's see how everything unfolds once we load up to the Rift. This is going to be the first game of the best of 3 series. Espionage versus Red Light. My thoughts on this Zoe and Syndra matchup is going to be more on who pulls the trigger first.
Yeah, I definitely think that Syndra I think Syndra is one of those champions that can deal with the Zoe in the mid lane because one of the ways to counter Zoe is to have more all-in potential than her. If you're able to dodge out her drowsy as Syndra, you're gonna have so much kill pressure onto the Zoe. And what most people don't realize is that Zoe doesn't have any real escapes built into her kit unless she has flash or unless she picked up a flash. She doesn't have any real tools to disengage once you start fighting.
But you gotta take note of those small spell pickups that Zoe can use towards her advantage. So it's a matter of luck, I would say, for Espionage in the mid lane. And for Red Light, for Margaret on the Syndra, that's going to be a very tough situation because if ever Margaret does not make it or even performs well in the mid lane, that's going to be trouble for Red Light. More on, he can burst on champions properly. I would say the Shyvana, the Renekton, the Braum are all out of the question. And the Zed is somehow, rather the Zoe rather, would be more of a favorable pickup. But we all know Zoe, very, I would say, annoying lockdown where you cannot have your escape and you're forced to pick up, I would say, a cleanse.
I do believe, yeah, you will need that extra layer of protection versus a Zoe in the mid lane. But Syndra, like I said, one of those champions that has enough damage to 1v1 the Zoe. As long as she survives until that level 6 point, I think Syndra will have a very easy time in this matchup.
So Summoners, we are loaded up and ready to go on to Game 1. Once again, this is Legion of Champions brought to you by Lenovo and powered by Intel. We are your shoutcasters. My name is Vulcan. And with me is Chisto. We will be witnessing Game 1 in just a bit. This is the best of 3 series. Let's see how Espionage and Red Light will perform.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see how these teams play during the first game, because given that we aren't that familiar with what Red Light has been, because they didn't compete during the promotion and relegation stage, whereas Espionage, we did see them recently during PR. We know what Espionage can do. Red Light, will they surprise us?
And let's see how Red Light would actually face up against one of the teams who are so close making it to the pro scene in the country's Premier League, the Pro Gaming Series, one of the top 8 teams, the best 8 teams in the whole country. And so far, for Espionage to fall a bit short, they would want to secure this finals and prove themselves that we are still considered one of the best teams.
Yeah, but with that being said, Red Light, during the online part of this tournament, they did beat 2 of the teams that made it into the Pro Gaming Series. So early signs right there. Maybe they are up to the challenge of beating these promotion and relegation teams.
And I don't think that, I think that some of the PR teams, despite not just Red Light, we also see a lot of LCL team members participating in the Pro Gaming Series. We are not strangers to that, but for Red Light to really showcase their talent in the grind, moving up to the finals right now, this day, is something they want to try and prove, I would say, Espionage, because when you beat a team that was PR, I think that's a huge confidence boost.
Yeah, if Red Light does come out on top today, and if they give Espionage such a challenge, it will put them on the map. People will know that Red Light exists as a team. They will know they're very good in League of Legends. So I wonder how they perform today.
And maybe they'll be the representative of the Philippines going to Bangkok for the grand finals of the Lenovo Legion of Champions. So far, let's see how this matchup is going to play out once we load up to the Rift.
Yeah, I'm actually very excited to see how this jungle Shyvana works, because as far as competitive League of Legends goes, we haven't seen that much Shyvana until now during the recent Runes Reforged. But like I said, during pick and ban, press the attack, very effective on Shyvana. And if she's able to get gold, if she's able to get items, she's going to be very painful to deal with.
And once you load up, farm up to that level, don't you think the enemy would try and suppress you? Because when you're talking about a Zoe, pre-level 6, she has very low mobility. She does got a bit of a nerf when it comes to the preseason. Less than the range got to reduce just a bit. The duration has been increased rather in return for the range for being decreased. So Zoe right now, do you think is a bit imbalanced, or would you say that it's still hard to play against the Zoe?
I think it's easy to play against the Zoe if you know exactly what you have to do versus, because if Zoe doesn't land her E onto you, it removes a lot of the possibilities of her to actually go on for a kill too, because her Q is very difficult to land. If she doesn't CC you, I think Zoe will have a very hard time actually going for these assassinations with her insane burst damage.
When it comes to Zoe with the burst damage, I think that's something that Syndra can rival up against, but I think we're already here, Chisto. Let's witness Game 1, best of 3 series of the Lenovo Legion of Champions. Let's go on to the Rift.
Hi, ako nga pala si Anjo, Endless Ace Alzate. Naglalaro ko from Team Espionage. Nalaman ko yung Lenovo Legion of Champions through Facebook kasi naghahanap kami ng tournament na pwede kami mag-practice papuntang PGS. Sakto rin, isa din siyang tournament na makapag-compete kami internationally. Maraming salamat sa Lenovo sa pag-organize ng Legion of Champions tournament. Lalo na online siya. Magandang opportunity to sa mag-a-aspire sa players na kahit saan man sa Pilipinas. Yung mga experience ko kasi sa tournament, mostly kasi from NCR sila. At from Metro Manila yung mga nag-champion. So excited talaga ako na makalaban ko yung mga fresh talents sa Visayas sa tournament na Legion of Champions.
You heard from Endless Ace, his words, I think, opportunity that he was placed upon to him in this Legion of Champions. But right now, Game 1 is on its way, and already Red Light invading the red side jungle of Espionage.
Yeah, but they were spotted though, Vulcan. I wonder how will Espionage respond. They know that Red Light is here. Their level 1 is very strong. That Dredge line has a lot of range, but I don't think they will catch out anyone due to that initial ward placed in Espionage's Tribush. Will spot out the invade.
So far for Sunzi to place that crucial ward is something that they avoid a huge casualty, a really bad start when it comes to the game 1 of the best of 3. So let's see. Espionage, they will not commit to an invade, same as for Red Light. We might be seeing a standard jungle route here, but I want to see something that Red Light can show us. I want to see this Xing Zhao go all the way to the bot lane, just heavily suppress the mid lane also, because this Zoe has to be controlled.
Yeah, as far as engage options or ways to be proactive during the early phase of this game, I definitely have to give the edge to Red Light because they have more options pre-level 6 to go for these fights, whereas Espionage, they will rely a lot on their ultimates if they want to go for these skirmishes versus Red Light. So Red Light, let's see, will they be able to pull the trigger and snowball off of this early game?
And when you're talking about timing, it's all about timing for this Gnar. If you don't match the yellow bar on this Gnar, you're just gonna have a bad time. You're not gonna have the ultimate ready. So for Red Light, they have to time everything correctly, especially the depth charge. But for Espionage, I think they have a lot more allowances here. There's a lot more leeway to extend the fight because we're talking about a Shyvana who would build up Fury and immediately go into Dragon form.
Yeah, but we are still a long way. Oh, the slow.
And the Slink will connect, but I don't think any follow-up will happen here in the mid lane. First blood has yet to be secured, and already, look at that Espionage. Applying some pressure in the bot lane. Look at the trade-offs here, not in their favor.
Yeah, like I said earlier, Red Light, they definitely have more tools to be proactive in the early game because Espionage, they will rely on their level 6. They need their ultimates if they want to go proactive. They're going to need the Ash Arrow, the Shyvana ultimate, the Glacial Fissure. They need these tools if they want to go for something that resembles a fight. So Red Light, now is the time where they need to take charge, go for these fights, go for these ganks, really try and snowball before Espionage can set anything up.
And when it's 3 minutes into the game, you're going to expect some proactiveness from the junglers, especially this Shyvana, but I would expect this Xing Zhao to at least visit the mid lane because I think things are heating up in the mid lane. We're talking about a Zoe and a Syndra matchup because both rely on first lockdowns.
Yeah, definitely. I have to agree with you right there because this matchup in the mid lane can swing in anyone's favor. If Syndra gets the slightest lead ahead, once she hits that level 6, you're just gonna die instantly to her because her unleashed power deals so much burst even though she hasn't built up that many AP items. But for Zoe as well, if she gets a slight edge onto Syndra, the Syndra's gonna have a very hard time.
And when you're talking about level 6 and looking at the CS in the mid lane, it's not that far behind, so both parties have to be ready. But for Endless Ace on this Zoe, I don't think he has much of a threat when it comes to level 6. And just look at the range of the stun that this Syndra brings into the mid lane matchup because this Zoe needs the range and this Syndra just removes that comfort.
Yeah, but once Endless Ace does hit level 6, he'll have that extra tool for mobility. He'll be able to gap close versus the Syndra and possibly go for more trades, go for more skirmish. But right now, he's just forced to farm under tower because Zoe still doesn't have that kill pressure.
Level 5 for the mid laners here, but for the junglers that's yet to visit any lanes. First blood, not yet secured because once we see a really good gank from the jungle. Right now,
here we go.
Suppressed here. That's going to be a flash bird by Sunzi. Flash in from the Xing Zhao. Flash in from the Nautilus, but no follow-up. That would be two summoners burnt for Red Light.
Yeah, great flash there by Sunzi, avoiding the dredge line. Will save his life. Did not give up first blood, and with the gank bot lane, it does give the Shyvana free reign over the topside jungle.
And when you're talking about a Xing Zhao who used the flash already, that relieves so much pressure from all the lanes, especially the top and mid, because Xing Zhao relies on this audacious charge, his E, where he needs to gap close. But when you're talking about without a flash, that's very short.
Yeah, but with that being said, Braum as well, he doesn't have flash. That's basically painting a target on your back, calling the enemy jungler like, come gank me, bro.
So we might see another Reeves visit again to the bot lane perhaps, because we know that Sunzi doesn't have his flash, but for his ADC he has full summoners ready, so I don't think full commitment will happen just yet.
Yeah, actually very interesting here. The bot lane of Espionage, they opted to run barrier and heal in a meta where Ardent Center isn't prevalent. Whoa, goodbye!
Goodbye, charging up his rage, but gets the Mega will fire into the wall, but no! Kills will be secured. Looks like this Renekton still has his flash ready. May go for the flash and W and the kill, but That's gonna be him under the turret, safe and sound.
Oh, good boy. Don't want to stick around too long. Renekton has flash.
And he does not have this rage bar ready just yet, so I think for Espionage things are looking pretty calm, but for Red Light, they're the ones trying to go for the ganks, but it's not working out because Espionage is just so careful.
And like I said during pick and ban, Renekton, one of those picks that can deal with the Gnar in the top lane because Renekton is also a lane bully. And it's just a matter of how both these teams decide to play around this top lane because once the matchup tilts in anyone's favor, it'll just snowball the lane for the top laners. But as far as team fighting goes, Gnar will be very, very more effective compared to the Renekton.
I'm still not seeing MKit doing any work here because obviously it's a Shyvana. You can't expect a Shyvana to gank properly, but leave the laners to do the works here. But Sunzi will be surviving for now, a bit low on health. Level 6 not yet for Clyde and for his support, but we do see that Snot and Sunzi, they're kinda a bit behind in EXP, especially in CS. Look at the CS lead, 10 CS so far for Clyde.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see this bot lane just absolutely erupt. Whoa, Endless Ace!
The range was a bit too short here. He did manage to land the Drowse and the sleep, but still no success. No kill so far.
Yeah, it was very scary for Margaret right there. If that Q had landed, Endless Ace could have followed up for even more damage and possibly taken down the mid laner for Red Light.
And when you're talking about the mid lane with full summoners still ready, and you just saw this Zhengshang making some aggressive moves in the jungle. Invading the space here, Margaret will not get a bit drowsy here, just so close to landing a skill shot.
Yeah, now that Endless Ace has his ultimate available, it allows him to go for these aggressive trades versus the Syndra. He's just not afraid to hop in front of her face and go for these trades where he's just constantly chunking out the Syndra, forcing her back towards her tower. Margaret, he's having a very hard time fighting in the mid lane.
And so far for, I would say, the bot lane, things are heating up. Menkins right here, curtain call in, here comes Leona. He has no flash ready here, but the curtain call will be blocked by Sunzi's Unbreakable.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that Red Light went for a gank bot lane. They knew that Sunzi did not have his flash coming from that earlier gank. But right now, whoa.
Look at Kyler doing so much damage to this Gnar, but in return, Good Boy is getting this trade-off rather successfully because you're talking about a melee and a range matchup here. But right now, we're seeing Red Light going for the tankiest Drake of the game, the Mountain Drake. MKIF just spotted a ward right there, but it's going to be too late.
Yeah, too many members there coming from Red Light. I don't think the Shyvana would be interested to hopping into that. I don't think it would have been worth it. And really, that stems from the aggression of Red Light's bot lane. They're trying to go for these aggressive moves before Espionage can pull the trigger. But Endless Ace, he's roamed up top lane.
Good Boy is in his Mega Gnar form. We're going to be seeing a gank here. Endless Ace a bit too close. Let's see. If he lands the Drowsy here, that would be a sure kill. But that's so much of a risk when you're talking about a Mega Gnar. Has the ultimate ready. And this Renekton does not having a flash for any escape.
Yeah, the sleep right there missing will opt to disengage. Oh, Ash.
But the knowledge is closing in. There is ultimate connecting fully in with a Dredge Knight combo. That would be the first blood going to Clyde. Red Light takes it away.
And that is what Red Light has to do in order to win this game. They need to pull the trigger before Espionage can set anything up. We know Espionage, they rely on their ultimates. But if Red Light, if they pull the trigger earlier and Espionage doesn't get anything off, it'll just allow them to snowball a lead.
Oh, look at that. Already in top lane. Good Boy is very low, and Kyler gets the kill. Color to make Empower. A lot of damage there. But right now we're seeing MKit, the red side of Red Light, spotted out by the Ash here. Looks like there'll be an invade.
Yeah, he's going for more. He will steal the card, but looking back, great solo kill by the Renekton onto the Gnar. And really great show of mechanics right there, able to close the gap. We know Gnar just kites melee top laners forever. But Renekton, he does have that slice and dice. If you don't position yourself properly through the minion waves, the Renekton can just get close to you and burst you down 100 to 0 very quickly.
And this is going to be the first turret going towards Espionage. And with that said, first blood went to Red Light. But the first turret, more, I would say, higher priority objective that you want to get in this game goes to Espionage because you get a bonus gold, you share it with your teammates, and you get a global gold of 100. That is just going to deny the first blood start that Red Light got.
Yeah, and that is really huge for Espionage because they gave up first blood, but right now first tower going over to the Renekton. In this matchup, we know there's gonna come a point in the game where the Gnar will be just the more effective team fighter compared to the Renekton. But if Renekton is able to snowball, it delays that point in the game. He will be more effective during the mid-game phase, and it's really what Espionage needs right now.
And with that said, I think they are going to further delay this Gnar, picking up the Rift Herald. But note that Red Light, they took away the first Drake, the Mountain Drake, but the next Drake again would be another Mountain Drake. Espionage can't give this away.
Dredge Line!
Look at the Dredge Line and plus the Death Charge combo. Look at the lockdown coming from Red Light, but Espionage is backing away. Here comes Good Boy, slams into the wall. A two-man stun, but a teleport will be coming in. Kyler instead switches it up, cancels the teleport, instead may just push his lane. But right now, Red Light, 4 members responded just like that.
Yeah, there's so much CC coming from all of the members of Red Light, and Ashe being one of the most immobile AD carries in the game. There's really no escape there if you don't have that flash, and we see Red Light, they're playing around the lane that Espionage needs to work in order to win this game. They can't set anything up with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow from the Ashe. Red Light, they're really shutting down that win condition of Espionage.
With that said, I mean, it's very risky for Espionage's bot lane when you pick up an Ashe and you already die twice. I think that's going to be Red Light cashing in the weakness in the bot lane. But right now, we're seeing Espionage, 4 members in the mid lane. Note that Mkid has the Rift Herald.
Yeah, they're gonna try to brute force this tower. The wave clear still isn't there for Red Light. Syndra is still in base. I wonder, can they defend this mid tower?
Oh, here comes Anonymous making some room in the mid lane, but that was the current call for the disengage. Sunzi is there for the counter. Looks like Lieutenant Nautilus will not fully go all in. He does not have his ultimate, but did have his flash, but not yet. Not just the right time.
Yeah, unfortunately for Red Light right there, the Dredge Line did land to a minion. They were able to force Espionage back a bit with the curtain call, but the Rift Herald being summoned.
Oh, could just be a distraction though that Espionage might set up. Know that there's ultimates ready here, but look at that Unbreakable denying so much damage. Force the flash away. The Crystal Arrow will not connect to anyone, but Margaret used his ult, so no ultimate available for the Syndra.
Yeah, everybody's in the mid lane right now. Both teams really fighting for position right now, and just as they take the tower, now Red Light, they're trying to respond. What will that lead to anything? Nope.
That was a close call for Good Boy. Good thing that he was able to leap just before he went to sleep.
Yeah, of course, once that ability lands onto you, you do have those few seconds of where do I go? Can my team protect me in order to possibly get to a safer position? Right there, he's able to hop out. Very well played.
Yes, and with that said, Espionage, they were able to fend off the counter push coming from Red Light, but the third score still lies onto their favor. But this is important because we're talking about the Mountain Drake. I mean, it's going to spawn next, and it's going to be really, really bad news if Espionage does not take away the Mountain Drake, because this Drake is going to grant you so much pressure through damage towards objectives, turrets, epic monsters. That's something that Espionage wants where they lack damage.
Yeah, but right now, Vulcan, as we transition into the mid-game point, things still look fairly even for both teams. The gold isn't that far apart. Right now, I think it's just a matter of who pulls the trigger first, and they're pulling it now.
Oh, look at Good Boy slamming 2 members of Espionage to a wall for a 2-man stun. Glacier Fidget for the knockup. That is going to be a trade of an ultimates, but the Mountain Drake is at stake here. Espionage cannot respond. They are a bit low here, but will try
and
test. They know it's happening. Let's see. That's going to be a smite secure from Red Light.
Yeah, great secure there by the jungler of Red Light, and now that's a second Mountain Drake to their side. Once the Baron spawns, or once they get to hit these towers, they will fall down very fast, and Red Light just playing the objective game very well. Oh, Kyler!
Look at Kyler, big trouble here. He does not have a...
Whoa!
Look at the damage though with the TM and Hydra. He takes down Liana. Was that a surprise there? Sunzi blocks the boomerang. He's gonna be angry here. He goes into Mega Narc farm. Looks like Liana did not expect Kyler to deal so much damage.
What an outplay right there by Kyler, and man, Shin Zhao, no real arrow. There's more fighting.
Two-man dogger from the depth charge. Look at members of Red Light. Very low in health. Gets asleep here. There will be no kill secure just yet. That's going to be a short in range. Margaret is here. He has his ultimate ready. Going for a good point. The stun does not connect. Only onto one member. Onto Endless Ace. That's going to be the current call by Clyde. Trying to make some room in the bot lane.
Yeah, both teams here, they're still jockeying for position here, really trying to push the other back.
Ooh, look at that
Ignite.
But the cleanse was right there to cleanse away from the burn damage. Margaret will not die just yet.
Just in the nick of time, the cleanse right there, very clutch for Margaret. But even though he lived, that does mean Espionage will force Red Light back, and they're going to be able to take down the third tower of the game.
And 16 minutes, 17 minutes into the game, that's a huge lead right now for Espionage. The gold lead is steadily increasing towards their favor. We're seeing a 2,000 gold lead for Espionage. Red Light, they managed to take down the two Mountain Drakes. They have to use it. If ever they get an ace or a Baron contest, that's going to be Red Light at an advantage compared to Espionage.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Espionage right now, they are ahead. But for Red Light, this is a manageable lead. They can still turn this around in their favor. If Red Light are able to pick a fight on their terms, if they can land the dredge line onto a key target, if one of the members of Espionage is caught out of position, that might be Red Light's window into breaking the game wide open once again.
And we're talking about Kyler on a timer with this Renekton. His damage, his effectiveness may just go down the drain. You just pick up a Ninja Tabi, you already deny so much damage from this Renekton's W, the Ruthless Predator. So it's a matter of time for Espionage. This is why they're playing it so fast. They know that they're on a limit here, and they're trying to close the game as soon as they can. But right now, with an arrow, will be connected onto the Jhin. The two-man lock up will not happen. Margaret is very low. Here comes Liana going all in. He got the Ashe. They got what they want. The juicy target. Red Light is going to commit. No more ADC for Espionage. And right now, they're all scrambled around the map. Espionage ADC gets the double kill, but MP goes in for a trade-off. And Endless Ace trying to get that good boy. The stun connects, and that's going to be a flash burn. And that's going to be a trade-off for Endless Ace, taking down Good Boy.
Yeah, will Endless Ace be able to escape though? I don't think he will.
The outplay does not happen here. He tries to get away, but the ace goes to Red Light.
That is an ace for Red Light 18 minutes into the game, and without two Mountain Drakes, they will be able to take down towers fairly quickly. I wonder what more can they take from Espionage.
This is what I was waiting for Red Light to get an ace and then push away the incoming waves, get the turret. This gives them a confidence. They know that they can take them on. You know that at the start, you see Red Light a bit too cautious. They know that, well, Kyler caught us by surprise, but now we can handle him. We know that we have the time in our hands. We have the goal advantage right now. And I think for Good Boy, picking up the Tabi denies so much damage.
Okay, let's break down the fight right here. Even though the Ashe ult landed on the Jhin, there's no real follow-up to really kill the priority target. And Red Light, they're just able to turn this around very quickly because, like we mentioned, Gnar, even though he was smashed in lane, he's gonna team fight way better compared to the Renekton, and they were able to lock down Kyler for so long. He really wasn't able to contribute that much into this fight.
You're talking about at the start, Red Light was able to take down the ADC of Espionage, and that left them so scrambled, and Kyler didn't know where to go in that team fight.
Yeah. On Renekton, you don't have that much option as far as hard CC, and if you aren't able to get a good flank off and teams are able to focus you, you aren't building that tanky enough to survive all the damage coming from 5 members just focusing all their attention to you. And now Kyler, you are in trouble.
Looks like this arrow will be connecting onto Liana. Memkit did take him down, saving Kyler's life. So that's going to be 1 kill in the bot lane. But for Espionage, they're facing 3 members.
Oh, they're diving
in the top lane. There's going to be the dive. That's going to be the lockdown. Good Boy gets the kill.
Yeah, like I said, Zoe, no built-in escapes. Even if you ultimate, you will go back to where you came from. And there's really no escaping Nautilus's ultimate right there.
So we can see that Red Light, they're doing the most standard thing you would see in any pro CFO games. Push away the top lane, prepare for the Baron. They have 2 Mountain Drakes up, and I think with that said, I think Red Light is coming back to this game rather strong. And this is a team that did not play the PR, and they are taking pride that they were able to take down 2 teams who did make it to the BGS.
Yeah, I really like the macro play coming from Red Light right now. The score in turrets has been evened out, and the kill lead on their side as well. They have generated this 2k gold lead, but will it balloon even more for Espionage? They need to act now. They're playing on a timer. They do not scale that well into the late game as far as 5v5 team fights go. So I wonder, Espionage, when will they begin pulling the trigger?
When you're talking about gold lead stuff, the only thing that can just boost that 2k towards, let's say, 4k would be the Baron. I mean, 1,500 total gold you get from the team, I mean, 300 each. That's gonna be good bonus. That's gonna fix a lot of problems you had in the early game. And now we're talking about Red Light. They have 2 Mountain Drakes. That's going to be more damage towards his Baron. So they have more security, more damage. They can secure this Baron and start it and probably end it without any worry of getting it too slow.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you right there. Baron could be the turning point in this match, but even with the 2 Mountain Drakes for Red Light, I think it's still too early into the game to take that Baron, because Jin isn't one of those 80 carries that can secure Baron very quickly. He's one of those 80 carries where if you do go for a Baron play, isn't as fast compared to something like a Vayne or a Kog'Maw or something. Yeah.
Or a Varus. So far, we know that Jin is not a very heavy attack-based champion. I don't think he's an attack-based champion at all. He kind of behaves like a Graves champion in a way. But with that said,
they both reload.
Red Light takes away the Cloud Drake. The next Drake will be the Infernal. Look at that, Infernal Drake. Jeez, though, that's gonna be... What's that gonna be? I think that's gonna be more pressure for Espionage.
That's my favorite Drake in the game, Vulcan. It just gives you so much more damage. You just feel good about yourself after you secure that Infernal Drake.
I mean, we're talking about the Infernal Drake. I mean, when they get 2 Mountain Drakes,
towers.
Because this Infernal Drake is gonna be taken down rather quickly. And what happens when you have 2 Mountain Drakes and you're going for the squishiest Drake of the game here? Look at Espionage.
Oh, they're setting up towards the Baron. This is very risky for them.
Oh, look at Endless Ace taking a lot of damage, already below half health. That Baron is just doing so much damage.
Yeah, they were posturing up for vision, and that's very smart right there. Grouping as 5, trying to avoid any picks from happening.
Oh, look
if
at
it
that.
does,
Arrow.
if a fight does happen,
they are expecting an arrow here. Look at the scout. Goes in. Getting some vision there. I wonder, can they make it happen here?
Yeah, Espionage, you have to be very, very careful if they approach this Baron area. I keep mentioning Red Light. They have the team fight advantage. You're having that Gnar.
Oh, this Baron can change everything here. Teleport both available for Kyler and Good Boy.
Oh, here comes...
Depth charge incoming. Sunzi burns his flash, but still gets caught with the drench line. Amkid goes in hard. Valiera goes in harder, but gets the heat from Amkid. That's going to be... Oh my god! Look at Kyler going in, wrecking the whole lane.
But he's alive!
But you're talking about this Clyde, this Good Boy, and that's going to be double kill. You're still...
This is an ace!
There's going to be more damage. That's the ace for Red Light. This is big trouble because at that fight, Clyde was not even touched.
Yeah, even though Kyler got that amazing flank down in the backline of Red Light, he wasn't able to take down the key target in that Jin. And with that being said, the second ace for Red Light will net them the Baron here.
So look at that, 4,000 gold lead closing in just shortly. And will that be a safe Baron? Yes, I think that's not going to be contestable for Espionage. And with that said, Red Light takes away the first Baron of the game.
Yeah, Red Light, they just broke this game wide open, Vulcan. I mean, things were looking fairly even, but one team fight just turned it around with that Baron secure and 2 Mountain Drakes as well. They can practically siege anything they want on this map.
Well, I really want to commend Kyler. I mean, that was such a great flank with the Renekton, but he did not have any defensive items. I mean, no sustainable damage there. Huge burst. And when you're not picking up, let's say, the Omen or any armor, I don't see any armor on Kyler. And you're talking about Clyde, who just got another double kill in that clash. Always the one left untouched. That's going to be bad news for Espionage if they don't control this Jin.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of the risks you have to take on the Renekton. He was snowballing early game, and as a player, you want to build more damage because you are ahead. You want to push your lead even further, and buying tank items really doesn't help you push your lead further. But unfortunately for Kyler, the rest of his team weren't able to set up the way he did, and that means Red Light just take anything from this map. I mean, Espionage, you're gonna slowly bleed out here unless they can catch a miracle team fight.
Or go for an engaging glacial fissure, misses Fly. He still gets the critical, but instead repositions himself. And look at that, stun connects onto. Ooh. Kyler gets killed by Clyde. The death shot goes on to
oh my god.
the ADC. Look at the damage burst coming in from Margaret. That said, Liana goes in deep. That's going to be a tower dive successfully dove by Redline. And with 4 members down for the count, looks like Redline is so close to ending this game.
Yeah, I like all of a sudden Vulcan 20-second death timers on the side of Espionage. A massive minion wave pushing in. Whoa, that was tricky.
That was a close call for Endless Ace here. Does that shot will connect?
I think this might be it.
Time. With that said, looks like Espionage will be outclassed here in game 1. But don't worry for Espionage, this is still the best of 3 series of the Lenovo Legion of Champions. But with that said, Red Light concludes game 1.
Yeah, very well played game there from Red Light. They were first to pull the trigger across that game, and that was really one of the key factors that led to their win. And Red Light showing up on the map.
Actually, that was actually a very fun game because you're talking about Red Light had a really bad start, but when you talk about Espionage, they did come back in a way that they got the first turret. And I thought that Espionage was really behind, but it turns out those 2 Mountain Drakes, the Cloud Drake, the Inferno wasn't taken there, but what mattered most was the Barrier.
Yeah, that was really Red Light just playing to their team comp strengths right there. They knew the Gnar would be more relevant in 5v5 team fights, and that's what they did. They grouped up, looked for these big on 5v5 clashes, and Renekton, he wasn't able to shine because he wasn't able to get those massive flanks that he really needs in order to be effective and relevant during these team fights. So Red Light, they're one step closer to going international.
They're one step closer going to Bangkok this January for the Lenovo Legion of Champions Grand Finals. But we'll be having a short break here. Once again, we have been your shoutcasters. My name is Vulcan, and with me is Chista. You just watched the Lenovo Legion of Champions, brought to you by Lenovo, powered by Intel. See you after the short break for Game 2. Dredge Line, look at the Dredge Line and plus the Death Charge combo. Look at the lockdown coming from Red Line, but Espionage is backing away. Here comes Good Boy, slams into the wall. A 2-man stun, but a teleport will be coming in. Kyler instead switches it up, cancels can, but right now with an arrow will be connected onto the chin. The 2-man knocked up will not happen. Margaret is very low. Here comes Liana going all in. He got the Ash. They got what they want. The juicy target. Red Line is going to commit. No more ADC for Espionage. And right now they're all scrambled around the map. Espionage ADC gets the Depth Charge incoming. Sunzi burns his flash, but still gets caught with the Drench Line. That kid goes in hard. Liana goes in harder, but gets the heat from M-Kid. That's going to be, oh my god, look at Kyler going in, wrecking the whole lane. But he's alive. But you're talking about this Clyde, this Good Boy, and that's going to be double kill. You're still,
this is an ace.
There's going to be more damage. That's the ace for Red Light. This will major misses Clyde. He still gets the critical, but instead repositions himself. And look at that, stun connects onto. Ooh. Kyler gets killed by Clyde. The death shot goes on to
the
ADC. Look at the damage burst coming in from Margaret. That said, Liana goes in deep. That's going to be a tower dive successfully dove by Redline. And with 4 members down for the count, looks like Redline is so close to ending this game.
Yeah, I like
that. Looks like Espionage will be outclassed here in game 1. But don't worry for Espionage, this is still the best of 3 series of the Lenovo Legion of Champions. But with that said, Red Light concludes Game 1.
Yeah, very well played game there from Red Light. They were first to pull the trigger across that game,